Hello everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of The Glovin Paradigm, where I'm your host Peter, aka LPD Dubuque, the cringiest Glover on YouTube.
Yes, definitely!
Flawless segue.
So, what is it this week that I want to talk about? Well, I don't know if a lot of people actually pay attention to GL anymore, but every now and then I still go on to GL and see what people are talking about, and there was a very interesting question that was brought up by somebody who I just thought was very interesting. And the question was, and it's really funny how this one kind of comes up every now and then, but it's pretty funny. What do you think it will take to have the online community more active, or to be more active?
Oh shit, here we go again.
Yeah, it's one of those episodes where we actually talk about the community again, because people like hearing me talk about the community, right? Right?
That's a damn lie.
Okay, so we have this question, right? And I didn't see a lot of there was a lot of responses, but I didn't really feel like there was a lot of feedback as much as I would expected. You know, I mean, I've seen questions like this be asked before in the past, and it had like 300 different comments on it, and this one only had around like 75. So this kind of gives you a good indicator of why this question is being asked, and seeing the amount of responses kind of gives you a good indicator of why, you know what I mean, if that makes any sense. So what I'm going to do in this episode is basically talk about the 3 most common inputs that people put out there in this comment thread, and then give my ideas on what we can do as a community. Because yeah, people like hearing what my point of view and what I think could work, you know. Now, I will certainly say this isn't things that can happen that would change everything overnight. This is stuff that needs to be implemented over time and consistently done so people would gravitate towards it, so it starts gaining traction. You know, yes, there are things that happen on the internet that go viral within a matter of seconds, but there are some other ones that kind of sit around before they actually take off. So that's the thing that you need to understand when it comes to a lot of these points that I'm going to point out. Okay, so there are 3 major points that people are talking about. Technically 4, but we'll get to that. The first one that people talked about is moving to other platforms, such as like YouTube, Discord, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Well, Twitter was never brought up, but Twitter is another good example. Reddit was brought up, so I don't know why we keep avoiding Reddit, but Reddit is there too. The second one that kept being brought up was online comps, but I actually would just say more comps in general. And the third one, which is kind of a weird one, was leadership / in-person gatherings. Okay, these are the 3 overarching points I see people were talking about the most. Okay, and oh boy. Okay, so let's break this down. So the first one, when it comes to different platforms, I wholeheartedly agree with doing this, because why? Public accessibility is what helps a community grow. Okay, public visibility is another way for an art form to grow. Okay, like I totally get what everybody talks about when it comes to like the publicity of these groups and how they don't want them public because they don't want trolls coming in. Okay, I get that, but you are talking about the internet, the greatest form of anarchy to exist at all in the universe. Okay, I mean, you're trying to stop something that happens to every community. Okay, anime communities deal with it, manga communities deal with it, gaming communities deal with this a lot more than people realize, but yeah, that is a thing. And I get that, but when that's the only place people are putting it, how does people see it more? Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, during the 2012 to 2016 era, it was booming and all that stuff. Yes, because of a company and their marketing. That's why it exploded. Because a company did it. Just wanted to point that out. You know? Just saying.
It's funny because it's true.
But I definitely agree with this. Moving to other platforms and making it more publicly accessible is a major thing that we need to start embracing. Now, what are platforms that a lot of glovers are gravitating towards outside of Facebook right now? Well, the biggest one right now is Discord. Why is Discord so popular? Well, not only do you have the chats that everyone wants to say and say that it's not really worth it, but guess what? There are different categories, and then there's different sections within those categories that you're able to post things. So here's a good example of why I think this is very important, because if you go to, let's say if you're on Worldwide Glovers Discord, which is a very booming place and very active when it comes to the gloving community, we have a little spot called YouTube Uploads. We also have TikTok links and all that stuff as well that you can share your stuff there as well. But if you're just wanting to look at people's light show videos and like and share and all that stuff, you just go to this section. You don't have to dig through all these different little posts that people put on in order to find those videos. Unlike with Facebook, where you're literally digging, and also you have to set up different filters just to find that stuff. It's a little bit more centralized and organized in that fashion. And I will swear up and down on Discord because of how well it's been working. And I can certainly tell you the other major thing that, yes, I know Facebook implemented this during 2020, but Discord has video chats and voice chats where you're able to talk to other glovers in real time and work on stuff. Now, I know there's a good amount of people who are going to sit there and be like, all people just want to do is just hang out and vibe and just talk and bullshit and blah 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 blah. Yeah, that happens a lot of the time, but you're complaining about human interaction where people just want to hang out and chill and talk. If you actually want to do a lab, we have that stuff set up on Worldwide Glovers Discord. You can actually say, hey, I want to do a lab, and if people hop in and start labbing with you, then you're labbing. The thing that needs to work there is the engagement and getting people to engage in that fashion. The other thing was I know a lot of people were complaining about when they were hearing about Discord. It's like, well, everything would just be YouTube embeds. Okay. Go check out this episode. It was a thing about the DMCA. I did a lot of good work on that because it was very important for people to understand what goes on when it comes to DMCA. Here's the thing though. Facebook is way worse about copyright stuff than YouTube is. Most of the time you're just going to get demonetized if you're using copyrighted material, and any ad revenue that you get from your videos, which I know not a lot of us even get, it's going to go to the copyright owners. Okay, but at least they're not taking down your videos or muting your videos like Facebook does. So I understand your point of view. Not only that, I'll also say this. YouTube doesn't destroy your video quality like Facebook does. Like, there's been so many times I've seen people try to upload 4K videos and it gets put all the way down to 720p. You know what I mean? So, and yes, I know there's gonna be people out there be like, I'm able to do that. Well, yeah, but not everybody has that accessibility. And that's why a lot of people are really gung-ho about leaving Facebook right now. Okay, and if you're one of those people who are like, oh, well, Facebook is dying, therefore the community is dying. No, it's not dying, it's just moving elsewhere, and you're not catching up to the times. Now, when it comes to TikTok, I will definitely agree. I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't really want to do it, but in order to get a little bit more visibility, we kind of have to accept where everybody's hanging out on. And a lot of people are hanging out on TikTok.
That's gross!
Okay, I know people who do live streams on TikTok who are pulling in 3K viewers while they glove. So, explain to me how you guys think that only Facebook is the viable source for this stuff.
It's not.
4 to 6 weeks later.
Now, next part, when it comes to the whole online competition stuff, yes, I do agree. More online competitions would be great. More in-person competitions would be great. Just more competitions in general would be great because it's a way of engagement that people can get into. Not discrediting that. However, I also would certainly say that maybe other forms of engagement like monthly challenges and things like that, Glover of the Month, I guess it was a thing I saw people also point out. Ways to incentivize people to actually engage. And comps, yes, are pretty much the easiest way, but only a select handful of people actually do that. Trust me, I've seen plenty of people who have done many comps throughout this past 2 years since we all been stuck in our homes, doing it. So, yeah, I would certainly say more online comps would be good. I would certainly say Should there be multiple comps happening at the same time? Maybe. I don't know. That kind of diverts people's attentions. So you got to be very careful on that. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. The other thing I will certainly say as well when it comes to competition is people talking about competitions. And I can already hear so many people just saying, it's just a hobby and I only do it to express myself. Yes, I understand that. But if you're somebody who cares about competitions, talk about competitions more. Engage with people who want to talk about competitions more. Because how else are they going to get any visibility if no one talks about it? You know what I mean? It's one of the things that I've been seeing when it comes to the in-person comp of pit battles competitions that's happening on location. I don't see much conversation happening about it. I see the posts that come up when it's over, but after that, there's not much competition talk about it. There's just zip. It's just literally, yeah.
All right, I get it.
So, really, it just needs to be all about more of the engagement. Okay, and if you care about competitions, talk more about competitions and get people more engaged in it. Now, here's the last part that I want to talk about. Everyone wants to talk about that we need to do more in-person gatherings, which is totally true. There are flow meetups that do happen. Everyone also goes to the festivals and you guys can meet up there. We have stuff like that coming back to us. And everyone wants to say, well, we didn't have that for 2 years. Well, yeah, guess what happened these past 2 years that were beyond any of our control. Well, except for the people who are in power, but we're not getting into that. So, I understand people's, point when it goes, it shouldn't be an online thing. However, I want to point something out. The online community is just as vital as the in-person community. Why? Because not everybody has the financial disposability, as I'm going to call it, to just go to multiple festivals within a year. I mean, I know how much those things cost, and it's not really cheap. Not only that, you also have to take into other expenses that do add up really, really quickly. I mean, I talk to people who, when they go to these festivals, they're averagely blowing over $2,000 within a couple of nights. I don't know about you, but not everybody has that kind of money. I certainly don't have that kind of money. So yeah, I'm kind of stuck resorting to using online interaction in order for me to interact with the community. Before I moved out here into Nevada, I was in the middle of bum-fucking nowhere, and the closest city I had to drive to was at least an hour away. And even then, there was nobody there in the Gloving community. So I had no choice but to interact online. So, I understand your point about in-person interaction is way better than online interaction, but online interaction is better than zero interaction whatsoever. Really want to stress that.
Jeez, you don't have to be a dick about it.
Okay, I think I got my responses to people's in the community responses of what people want to say. Now, when it comes to leadership, I definitely agree. I feel like getting more people involved and who want to be involved and who are committed to being involved should have the opportunity. Do I feel like there should be more moderators on GL? Maybe. I would certainly say more active ones would be great. I know there are a few of them that are very active, but that's only a couple out of the ones that we have. And something that was pointed out to me in a conversation I thought was very interesting is that, like, did you actually look at the list of the moderators on GL? I'm like, well, yeah. What about it? And their response was, it's everybody from 2012 to 2016, and no one newer than that are on that list. And I thought that was kind of weird because I'm pretty sure some of them were actually a little bit newer. But yeah, I understand that, and that's kind of a product of the time period of when GL started. Okay, and as you can probably tell from the community, change is a very, very resistant thing for the community. They very much like resisting to change. Well, that's the only way that we can survive is to adapt and change. Not only that, there are people who are actually being community leaders on different platforms. And it's funny when that gets pointed out that they get discredited even faster. So you want new leadership, but when new leadership is pointed out, you guys discredit them so hard because they didn't put in the same amount of work. How much work and effort do you think it takes to run a community? Because I can certainly tell you, it's a lot of work. Case in point, Worldwide Glover's Discord. There's a lot of people in there and it's very active. And trust me, Starstream Tut has a lot on his plate when it comes to that. But guess what? He also has moderators that he can trust to help mitigate a lot of the work that he needs to do. So, is our work just not good enough for you? Like,
Why would you say something so controversial yet so brave?
So my advice to all of this is, yes, we need to move off of Facebook. We need to let Facebook not necessarily die, but it should not be the be all end all for the gloving community. Clearly, what formula that Facebook had for the gloving community no longer works. And therefore we need to change and adapt to that. Does that mean moving to TikTok? Well, I would certainly say yes, because that's where everybody is now, and that's where a lot of new blood coming into the hobby is on TikTok. So fostering that is going to help. Do you have to do TikTok? No. Instagram is another great place where it's kind of crazy that Facebook is so popular, and Instagram, who's also owned by Facebook, is not being utilized as much. See how that's kind of crazy? You know, we also have YouTube, and we also have Reddit, which I don't understand why that one still gets overlooked so much. Like, you don't ever have to worry about getting zooked there. You never ever have to worry about it getting buried. You know, you can find videos. You can literally sort that stuff out much better than you can on Facebook. And Reddit doesn't really use an algorithm when it comes to when you look at subreddits. You know, the gloving one in particular, you don't really have an algorithm there. Discord is another great place to go because one, you have the voice chat, so you can actually work in real time with people on concepts and things like that. Not only that, you have different sections where you can post things, like the share your flow category in Worldwide Glover Discord right here. Yeah, this little part right here. You can literally put your YouTube uploads right there and other links like your live stream links and your TikTok links and all that other stuff. That way you're sharing that and other people can find it. And it's not stuck behind a privacy wall that Facebook Ironclad likes to hold on to for some reason.
Daddy, chill.
Next part I would definitely want to say is give more incentive for engagement, right? Now, when it comes to online community interactions, the most active place on Facebook is Pit Battles, okay? It's the most active place, and I really would like to see Pit Battles move off of Facebook onto other platforms to see if it works, because as soon as the list came back for Pit Battles, it exploded with activity. You know what I mean? It was more activity that I've ever seen than I've seen on GL. Alright, that tells you something right there. There's a list, there's all of that stuff, and it incentivizes people to engage. And guess what? People are engaging with it. You know, do we need to have prizes every single time? No, but it is a good, easy way to get an incentive. But, you know, you gotta figure out what's going to get people to want to be more involved. And just telling people that they just need to post more for the sake of posting, apparently it's not working, because if that was the answer to all the problems, would people be posting more? And if so, why aren't they posting more? Okay, so my third advice on this whole thing is definitely giving more ways to interact and engage with the community outside of comms. Okay, challenges is a great one. When Snaps did his Snap Off challenge, that was great. I saw a lot of people interacting and participating in that. That's awesome. We need more stuff like that. Reddit used to have a monthly challenge thing, which I don't know why they stopped, that they ran every month. As long as you submitted it under the flare of that, it, you know, most upvotes would have won. Like, it was a challenge thing for people to engage for themselves. It was like a personal achievement thing. Hey, I did this challenge, and even if I don't make it, at least I pushed myself and put my foot forward and did it. The other big final note when it comes to getting the online community more active is simply showing more support to the people who are trying to get it more active. You know, it's the same iterations that you hear from YouTubers constantly. Like, share, subscribe are the keys that help grow things. Okay? If you're on Facebook, share that stuff on other parts of Facebook so it gets more visibility. If it's on YouTube, share it on other platforms so it gets more visibility. Even though YouTube doesn't like that and they actually hit you really hard on the algorithm, which I learned very recently. Just want to point that out. But putting on different platforms allow for more visibility. And then having people share will be a huge key factor. You know, we're a community. We need to work together and show support to each other. For some reason, that's not happening. And I'm not saying that this needs to happen more often on Facebook. I would say it needs to happen more often on other platforms. Yes, you can still do Facebook if you want. I'm not going to stop you on that. But literally engaging more with just content on Gloving out there helps it get out there more and get more noticed. You know what I mean? And it's not an ego thing that everybody wants to point to. It's like, well, it's just going to boost people's egos and stuff when they get so much more attention. Okay. I think that's going to happen to that person regardless of what kind of attention that they're going to get. Okay? If it happens to be Gloving, it just happens to be Gloving. But you're literally fighting against the behaviors of the internet. And where is it getting us? So it's a huge part is that you guys need to contribute to the community as a whole by supporting the community, by sharing and actually engaging and doing the things that so many people do outside of the Gloving community for their own communities. It's the one baffling thing that I will say here and now, that I look at other communities and see these kinds of engagements, and then you come to the Gloving community and it's literally yeah. So as much as I hate this stuff, kind of frustrates me a lot of times, and it's like we're beating a dead horse. And it's strange that other people will sit here and be like, well, I'm not going to do it until somebody else starts doing it. And then when somebody else starts doing it, you guys tend to, lack of a better phrase, shit all over them. Why? And most of the times when I ask that question, people don't give me a good straight answer, and it really comes down to this subjective opinion of how they feel about it. And it's not actually objective criticism. You know what I mean? So, those are the things I will impart to you, and I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Please comment down below and let me know what you guys think of how to get the online community more active. Give me other ideas about, different ways to have the community interact and engage with itself that isn't just competitions, because I feel like those are just the blanket things that people want to throw. Like, I get it. Competitions are great. They're very easy to do, relatively. But that's not all we can do. There's other things we can do. We have, artists have Inktober, where they're able to draw and challenge themselves on their drawing ability. We can do that too with our Gloving skills. But yeah, that's pretty much all for my episode. I certainly hope you guys enjoy what I had to say in this one. If you guys have any questions, you guys have the wonderful opportunity to interact with me on any of my social media, which is linked down below in the description. You also have the wonderful comment section that seems to be very vacant a lot of the times, that you can interact with me there. I will respond to your comments. They're there for a reason. And of course, you have multiple ways to help me out. You can like, share, and subscribe to my channel, which helps me out, and it's all for free. Or you can help me out by donating to my Ko-Fi. Yes, I do have a Ko-Fi for one-time donation, so please do not hesitate to donate to me there. Please donate to my Ko-Fi so I may continue to listen to lo-fi. But other than that, I certainly hope you guys enjoy what I had to say. I think everybody who's watched my channels thus far, you guys are absolutely amazing. I love you guys, but I am your host, Peter, aka LPD Dubuque, and I'll see you guys all next week.